In today's society, patriarchy has set such harsh stereotypes for women. Stereotypes are generalized views and preconceptions towards attributes or characteristics specific to an individual or oftentimes group. Society has shaped gender roles through stereotypes. Gender roles are a set of social and behavioral norms within a specific culture that are considered to be socially appropriate for a specific sex. Gender roles and stereotypes lead to sexism in both genders, but significantly affect women more. Patriarchy is a system in which males hold the primary power, roles in leadership, authority, and social privilege over women and children, plays a big role in this. There is a never-ending list of gender stereotypes that go on for women created by this so-called higher power. For example, women cannot be funny, women cannot be gross, women cannot care about other things besides men, etc. These harsh generalizations of women are portrayed vastly throughout the media and Hollywood today. For anybody that has seen the movie Bridesmaids, you know that it is absolutely a hilarious film from start to finish and nonetheless a good watch. Bridesmaids falls under the genre of comedy. It was released in 2011 and produced by Judd Apatow, Barry Mandel, and Clayton Townsend. The storyline of Bridesmaids follows Annie, the maid of honor of her best friend Lillian, who is soon to be married. Throughout the movie, Annie's life unravels as she struggles to lead the bridesmaids Rita, Becca, Megan, and Mel. Annie is an absolute train wreck. Her life is basically falling apart while she's watching Lillian's fall together. Her bakery was shut down. She's hooking up with a guy who only sees her as desirable for her body and refers to her as his number 3, and she struggles to afford her apartment she shares with her 2 obnoxious roommates. On top of all of this, Lillian introduces her groom's boss's wife, Helen. Helen is beautiful and rich, and the complete opposite of Annie. Annie's jealousy gets the best of her, and ultimately, Helen and Annie complete Lillian's friendship throughout the entire movie. Bridesmaids has crushed these stereotypes for women in quite an interesting way, throughout a series of gross, disgusting, yet hilarious scenes. But is Bridesmaids truly a breakthrough for feminism? Sure, a woman can fart, burp, puke, and make repulsive sexual comments and jokes, and perform other so-called manly acts. Or is Bridesmaids drilling the idea that in order to be equal, women have to do so through a behavior developed entirely by patriarchy to fall under a male's idea of comedy? The genre of comedy was essentially developed through a male's idea of humor. Judd Apatow, the director of Bridesmaids and other similar movies like Trainwreck, Superbad, Knocked Up, and many other comedies, may take some responsibility for this. Although Judd Apatow claims to be a feminist, his lens for women in films could use some fine-tuning. Female-led comedies have remained somewhat of an untouched territory, and Judd Apatow has made some changes to that in the film industry in more recent years. He has directed some great comedies, but they all follow a similar trend. For example, Trainwreck, starring Amy Schumer, where behavior and sexual tendencies have also been developed through the patriarchal standpoint. Many would say that Bridesmaids is an achievement for feminism in Hollywood. But is it really even a feminist film at all? Sure, the main rows of characters are women, and the movie is centered solely along friendships and not men. The film is even written by 2 women, Kristen Wiig and Annie Moonwell. Patriarchy has given the idea that women cannot be funny, humorous, or care about anything other than men, which this movie does prove wrong, but is it in the right way? The film stars Melissa McCarthy, who is an undeniably hilarious and clever actress and comedian who basically makes this film with her disgusting behavior and language. Megan is portrayed as a very masculine character in this film, which then again reinforces the idea that they have to look manly and distasteful for a woman's behavior to be accepted and comfortably laughed at like this. Helen and Megan are on opposite ends of the spectrum for this movie, and the other bridesmaids fall in between. Helen is seen as undeniably beautiful, thin, etiquette, and put together, and nonetheless a ladylike woman. Helen does not participate in any of the repulsive behavior throughout the movie simply because her physical appearance isn't socially acceptable to portray this behavior. In one specific scene, the bridesmaids get food poisoning while trying on dresses, with the exception of Helen, who refused to eat before this. Many would say the film is a female version of The Hangover, but it's incredibly worse as far as mass vomiting and pooping go in this scene. This scene does prove that women can be gross, if not more than men, but ultimately the behavior portrayed is through a men's idea of comedy.